probably present bottom first chart. All right, so we're going through our UFC preview here. Unfortunately, Grant is still in the process of traveling, so he will not be on this particular show with us. But fortunately, we still have Jackson's sharp mind to help us get an edge here.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
so we got the first fight you want to walk us through here that you said you like the value between Charlampos. I'm not going to try against Chad. We're going to call him Chad. Make it simple.
Yeah, Charlampos Grigoriou, who's $2.22, is going up against Chad and Helliger, who is a little bit more expensive at 263. And I think we're getting some good value here for Charlampos. Chad is a veteran, so we always see a little bit of an opportunity for those guys facing a contender like Charlampos. They're much more experienced, but he is riding a 2-fight skid. Gregorio is riding a 4-fight win streak. And Chad is a very powerful striker with good BJJ. Main concern with him is just his shoddy takedown defense. It has failed him multiple times, especially recently. But he does have a decent get-up game. Charlampos is a very powerful striker himself with great leg kicks. He's actually had a leg kick TKOs before in the past, and he can win on the ground or on the feet. And I'm just concerned for Chad here after seeing him getting taken down so many times in the UFC, but especially in his last few fights. It's just hard for me to trust him. And I know he is getting old, and Charlampos is young and explosive. And, Charlampos can hang on the feet, but he can also grapple and wrestle very well. I think this is a good spot for him here, and I think we're getting pretty fair odds at about minus 160.
Right on.
Oh, I just set the betting odds for it. God.
It's what it is. We're running a little tired here. We'll be all
Yeah.
right. We got Jacqueline Amarim here going against Corey McKenna. You said you saw some value in this fight. Tell me exactly what you're seeing. I'm assuming it's going to be on the McKenna side here, but
Yeah,
let me know.
exactly. That's why I wanted to point this one out, is because on Prediction Strike especially, you're getting a ton of value for Corey McKenna. She's over $1 cheaper, and they're pretty low-priced stocks, so it's a higher relative percentage of Amarin stock, meaning she'll reprice at a much higher clip if in the event that she wins. And Corey McKenna does happen to be the sportsbook favorite, so you could just not even look at this and just play off of pricing inefficiencies if you would like to. That's not what we like to do. We like to go in a little bit more. Amarim, her opponent, is 4-1 in her last 5, coming off her first UFC victory. McKenna is riding a 2-fight win streak. She has been away for a year, not for any sort of injury or anything. She was getting married. So hopefully, probably that won't affect her game at all. But McKenna is very well rounded, currently the favorite. Like I said, she applies pressure, stays very tight, good combos. And when she wants to grapple, she has pretty good entries as well. She's very powerful and big for this division and can work in submissions, ultimately using everything she has in her arsenal to get the victory. And her opponent, Amarim, she does have heavy hands, but she is mostly a BJJ nerd. Good grappler, decent takedowns and submissions. And like I said, she has power in her hands, can definitely knock you out, but her striking is very loose, bit sloppy, sometimes to her disadvantage. And we have seen her struggle with cardio in the past. We've seen it improve in the past few fights. But I think the only thing to really worry about here ultimately is McKenna coming off of a hiatus from fighting. She is the better fighter with probably better cardio, even though we have seen that area improve in Amarim's game. And McKenna has the more diverse skill set too, I would say. She can strike with slightly less power than Amarim, but is the much more technical striker, and she can do what she needs to do on the ground as well. But I do think Corey does need to strike with Amarim and keep the range for most of the fight. That's her path to victory. I like the overs. I like Corey a ton on Prediction Strike. That's the only place I'm going to be investing in her. So Corey McKenna.
Right on. Corey McKenna. Remember the name. Watch it happen. All right, and the last value fight you want to talk about from the early ones here was Thiago Moises versus Mitch Ramirez, I believe here.
Oh wait, no, we can actually just go up to Mearshart.
Go up to Mearshart. All right. So
Yeah,
stand
versus Bam
by.
Bam.
So
There are 2 fighters on this card named Bam Bam. Fun fact, or
Mearshart.
nickname Bam Bam.
All right, so we got Gerald Misha here going up against Brian. Bam Bam Barberena.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now we got this one pulled up. Walk through how you
Yep.
see this one going down. It looks like prices are slightly favored towards whatchamacallit, Mearshart
Mearshart.
here.
Yep. And it's so he at the time we bought or I bought into him when I started doing the streams and stuff, he was at 292. So he's obviously seen a little bit of pre-fight pump here. But even though he is the favorite, you'll notice their prices are super close. It's basically a pick 'em here, and he's a minus 220 favorite in the books. So the value is in prediction strike still, even though it might not seem like it, like just from a face value because he is the favorite here. But I really like the machine, Gerald Mearshart here against Barberena. He is riding a 2-fight skid. However, Barberena is riding a 3-fight skid. Gerald is just a nasty grappler he has an elite submission game. They're always in play for him. And he doesn't have the best striking in the world, but he definitely has improved there. Like he has 52 fights under his belt, which comes with experience, which comes with improvement as time passes. So he is a great grappler, never quits with improved striking. He averages a little bit over 2 takedowns a fight with low accuracy. But like I said, once he gets you there, he is a machine. It's impossible to get up. And his opponent, Barberena, he's a fun guy, very exciting fighter. He's mostly a striker with high volume shots, very busy. He has some decent wrestling and grappling when he needs to use it, emphasis on needs because he really doesn't like to. And he swings wildly sometimes. But both of these guys are on losing streaks. Yes, Mearshart has looked a little bit chinny recently, but I am just way more concerned for Barberena here than I am for Mearshart in that regard. Brian can't defend takedowns at all. He's been taken down 18 times in his last 3 fights, and that's all Mearshart's going to be looking to do for the entire 3 rounds of this fight is take Barberena to the ground. So Gerald is the pick here simply just because I think it's going to be too easy for him to exploit Brian's takedown defense.
Fair enough. All right. Moving on to our next bet, we got Kianza here versus Kiasin. Looking at prices, you have a slight favoritism towards Kiasin. And I want to say this was. Let's make sure.
Is Kianzad the first on the main?
Yeah, I think
Okay, cool.
so. Yeah, because when I'm looking at ESPN, that's how I go through the card. It goes
Yeah.
Mearshart to Kiasin, Bulgarian, and Njoku,
Yeah, no,
Rusa,
you're right. You're
Tybura.
right.
All right. So we got these two. Kiasin seems to be a heavier favorite in other spots than here.
Yeah,
Right here, it looks like it's a bit more of almost a pick 'em. In which
yeah,
case,
it's
I feel like you should be
exactly
slamming
that.
Kiasin, but you walk me through how we should be tackling this.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's value no matter which side you're on here, obviously. But Pani, she's 3-2 in her last 5, coming off a decision loss to Vieira. Macy is coming off a decision loss to Irina Aldana. Panny's last fight concerned me a little bit for sure. She is a good boxer, good combos, decent jabs, good takedown defense as well, which you'll probably need in this fight against Macy. But she was taken down instantly in her last fight. Did not look good. And Macy is very long, very lanky. She uses her length well to jab, work her way in. She has a Muay Thai base, and when she can keep distance from her opponent, she's very good, very technical. Wrestling getting better and better with each fight. And I think Panny's the better striker here, but Macy is just like so long. She's going to be able to manage range against the smaller Panny, and it's going to be tricky for her. Um, Macy, she's worked on her wrestling, pretty well rounded, durable. Um, but yeah, I'm going to go Macy here, probably by decision. I think you're probably getting too much value here to not take her side on this.
Fair enough. All right. Moving on to our next fight here, we got Bulgarian, who you sound very excited about, versus Christian Rodriguez. And a
Yeah.
massive difference in price.
Yeah, exactly. We've got Isaac Dolgarian more than a dollar cheaper than Christian Rodriguez at very low prices, which means there's a ton of value here with Isaac Dolgarian. Christian Rodriguez is kind of like known as a gatekeeper at this point. He's kept a few prospects out of, well, not out of the UFC, but he's stopped a few prospects on their way into the UFC, including one very well-known one in Raul Rosas Jr. He beat him recently. Um, but Christian Rodriguez, he is a good striker, moves well, pretty fast, and he has good takedown defense. Uh, disregarding that he's been taken down a bunch of times, it's been to people who, he's defended a lot of takedowns against who were shooting the whole fight. But like I said, he's coming off his like second sort of gatekeeping win in a row. He's going up against Dolgarian, who's a really good prospect, in my opinion, good wrestler. He's competed in multiple different styles of wrestling through since high school. So, he's a real wrestling practitioner. He stays light on his feet when he's striking and uses that striking to set up his takedowns. He's coming out off an impressive TKO win over Francis Marshall. And we have, like I said, Christian Rodriguez did beat Raul Rosas Jr., but the thing is, Raul Rosas was ragdolling him that entire fight. And Raul Rosas is similar to Dolgarian in the sense that he's a grappling expert. Dolgarian might even be better at grappling, at wrestling than Rosas was at that point in his career, even though he's very, very young. But even Rosas was ragdolling Christian Rodriguez, like up until the point where he got gassed. He was chasing the finish too hard. So I think this one is going to be Dolgarians. I like the pick here. You're getting better value on Dolgarian than anywhere else. We haven't really seen his cardio, but I'd like comparing him to Rosas. I would imagine he has better cardio than Rosas, but we haven't really seen it because he's just such a finisher.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't gotten out of the first round. Is he Despain-esque? Eh. Um, but we will find out this weekend. So the next fight we got here is another name that's just fun to pronounce, against our boy Kennedy here. Walk me through
Yep.
it.
Yeah. So Ovin St. Preux, I think, um, is going up against Kennedy Nchukwu, who is coming off a knockout loss to Dustin Jacoby. Ovins, I think he's Haitian. He's 2-1 in his last five, coming off the knockout loss to Felipe Lins, we saw fight last week. Kennedy is a really long and powerful guy who has solid takedown defense, really solid takedown defense at 80%. And he can finish late because he's super low volume, so he conserves his energy throughout a fight. So he's a guy who you can never really count out. But that does hurt him at some points because he throws a lot less than he should. Low volume hurts and helps. That's how it goes.
He's also
But
nine
when he
years
does throw,
younger. I will say that.
who is?
He's 9 years younger in this fight,
Oh
which is
yeah,
nice.
yeah. And when he does throw, he's very dangerous. He has one punch knockout potential. Can also snatch up subs. Ovens, he's very talented guy, but like Will said, he is 40 years old. Still very dangerous and is an accomplished athlete. Averages a little over a takedown a fight. Low volume as well, just like Kennedy, throws nothing. But he is talented, fast, has one punch knockout power. And he's coming off a knockout loss where he just couldn't really do anything. Yeah, Ovens is 40 years old. He has no chin. He has a striker's chance, but he doesn't throw any punches. So Kennedy has a lot of career left in him. He's the better, more explosive guy. I'm going to go with Kennedy Nchukwu.
Makes sense. Interesting to see this guy had a full 5 rounds against John Jones, though. That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, he's had a crazy career, and he's been like in and out of his career, stepping up competition, trying to take fights that he probably shouldn't, which has left him with that 16-17 record. So it's been just like an up and down career for this dude, Ovens.
That's annoying.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on to the next bout here. We have Brian Battle, a name I can't pronounce, going against our guy Lusa here.
Yes,
Not Lusa,
sir.
Lusa. Let me know how you
Yeah.
like this fight. Is there a particular way you're leaning towards? I see a little value on the Lusa side, but it looks like it's priced appropriately relative to consensus.
Yeah. So yeah, Losa. If you're on the Losa side of things, which I think, like, if you're considering trying to find a dog on this card, I don't see any problem with Losa. He's one of these guys that like you have to be careful with always. I'm personally not going to go to Losa on this one. I like Brian Battle. Brian's coming off back-to-back finish wins. Anhe is coming off his second UFC win. Um, Brian, I've seen more improvement in, though. He gets better and better with every fight he's in. His striking has gotten so much better, and he has real knockout power now. He has great submissions, great cardio. And I think he's just going to keep getting better. He could be really big in his career at some point. He just doesn't have that insane athleticism yet. But he has 25% takedown accuracy. But like I said, he improves every fight. He did just beat AJ Fletcher with a second round submission and a win. Losa has really solid power, solid kicks, an amazing chin. Also lands more than 6 significant strikes a minute and has 100% takedown defense. Has never been taken down in the UFC. And he's coming off that win over Reese McKee. And it's like, you would have expected Losa to kind of do that. Reese McKee is not a good fighter. But this fight is a little bit tricky. I do like Brian, though. I'd say the better pure striker between the two is Losa, but Battle will, look better than he did last time. Battle is far better on the ground. He's a jiu-jitsu nerd that also can strike and has power. Wants to be a grappler generally, though. And I think I'm going to go Battle probably by decision here because I think the line's like, I'm going to talk about a bet real quick here, but the line's going to be juiced because people think of Losa as a finisher, but he, like in the UFC, it's been all decision fights, and it's like people still write about Losa as a quick finisher, but it's been 3 decision fights in the UFC or two decision fights. So it's like I don't know if he is anymore. I'm gonna go with Losa, or at this level of competition, not like he's like fading or anything, but um, yeah, I think he's gonna get out technical by Brian Battle here.
Right on. All right. So now we have the last fight here. I know you got a special announcement for the actual fight itself, but Marcin Tybura going against Tuivasa. Um, yeah, walk me through it. I know you seem to be realistically a little bit more interested than most in this fight. I can see why from a value sense, but walk me through it.
Yeah. Ty presents so much value here as the sportsbook favorite. He's over $2 cheaper than Marcin. This is another one of those fights where, like, if you're someone who likes to put money on sports, it's like you just look at those price differentials and you're like, boom, that's plus EV. I'm just going to take that right there. Um, but Ty, he is riding a 3 fight stoppage loss streak. Tybura, obviously, coming off that quick knockout loss to Tom Aspinall in the main event. And I really like Ty here. He's super exciting in the octagon. He hits hard, huge leg kicks, good striker, very accurate striker. Definitely more powerful than Tybura. His chin has gotten worse over time for sure as he's stepped up in competition. But I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem here. I don't really consider Tybura to be a one punch KO kind of a guy. I don't think he's going to be one punching anybody and knocking them out, but he is very busy and he can piece you apart throughout a fight. Definitely a volume striker. He can take you down too, low takedown accuracy at 33%. Also, some good clinch work. Um, as I said, coming off that fast KO to Tom Aspinall. But I think Ty probably gets this done, prevents the best value on this entire card on prediction strike, so obviously I have to take him. Um, and I think Ty can grind through this, get the win here.
Right on. Well, we'll see if Ty will do Shui when he catches that W. But as for
Someone's
this
doing
fight,
Shui.
somebody's doing Shui is what we're finding out. But yeah, nothing too crazy. We'll have Grant back next week to help us with his insight. But in the meantime, appreciate you guys popping in for a little bit here. Listen to us talk a little bit about this. And yeah, hope you all have a great day. Peace now.